What's up, Steelers Nation? Our team is doing everything it can to improve day by day. And every move from the front office shows one clear thing. The Pittsburgh Steelers are serious about contending. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, smash that like button and subscribe right now, because we've got some powerful news about how the Steelers might be building a secret weapon that echoes a Super Bowl trend revealed by George Kittle himself. You're not going to want to miss this. Let's dive into it. The Steelers made a bold move last year when they brought in Arthur Smith to take over as offensive coordinator. The plan: build a bruising, run-heavy attack that dominates with physicality and smarts. That approach includes creative personnel packages, especially heavy usage of tight ends to create mismatches and keep defenses on their heels. And now, with Aaron Rodgers running the show, Pittsburgh might finally be able to make that vision come to life. You bring in a guy like Rodgers, and suddenly, the offense has someone who can read the field, adjust protections, get the ball out quick, and take calculated shots when the opportunity arises. That kind of quarterback could be the missing link to unlock Arthur Smith's system. This week, none other than George Kittle dropped a nugget of wisdom that ties directly into what the Steelers are quietly building. On NFL, on ESPN, Kittle pointed to a recent trend. Teams that reach and win Super Bowls almost always have elite tight end production and deep tay rooms. It's not just about a single star, like Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski. It's about versatility, blocking, and route running from multiple players at the position. If you look at the past 10 Super Bowl winners, every team has either a Gronk, a Kelce, a Goddard. You have an elite tight end. You have guys that make plays. Kittle went on to talk about how successful offenses are deploying 11, 12, 13, and even 22 personnel groupings, often using 3 or more tight ends in their sets. That flexibility, he says, gives offenses a serious advantage when it comes to tempo, balance, and play calling. Unpredictability. Sound familiar? The Steelers have clearly been watching the same trend. They've already got Pat Freiermuth, a former second-round pick who's flashed Pro Bowl potential, and while he dealt with injuries in 2024, there's optimism that he can bounce back in a big way with Rodgers leading the huddle. Then there's Darnell Washington, the massive second-year tight end who's worked all offseason on refining his pass-catching skills to match his blocking prowess. Rodgers already sees the potential there behind them. There's growing depth. The Steelers have quietly added pieces to make the tight end room stronger from top to bottom, and that could be key. And don't forget the Jonnu Smith rumors. Reports earlier this offseason linked the Steelers to a potential trade with the Miami Dolphins for the veteran tight end. While that hasn't materialized yet, it's proof the front office is thinking exactly the way Kittle suggested. Strong, versatile tight ends win championships. Now, let's talk about what Rodgers brings to that equation. The 4-time MVP may be in the twilight of his career, but his leadership and ability to elevate players around him are invaluable. Tight ends thrive in systems where quarterbacks trust them to make reads and be where they're supposed to be. Rodgers has a track record of making average tight ends look great, with Freiermuth, Washington, and potentially more weapons in that room. He could help take this offense to the next level. The Steelers don't need to become the 2013 Broncos. What they need is an efficient, balanced attack that controls the pace of the game. Use the tight ends in heavy sets, pound the rock with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, and hit defenses with play-action passes downfield. Now, while we're on the topic of future planning, let's switch gears and talk quarterback succession. Steelers owner Art Rooney II has already hinted at it. Pittsburgh plans to take a quarterback early in either the 2025 or 2026 NFL Draft, and with Aaron Rodgers publicly stating this is likely his final season. The time is coming. In April's draft, the Steelers waited until the 6th round to grab Ohio State's Will Howard. He's a solid developmental piece, and Rodgers has said he wants to help mentor him. But long-term starter, most analysts don't see that ceiling with Howard. That's why sources close to the team say the plan remains to invest a first-round pick in a quarterback in 2026, and let's not forget, the 2026 NFL Draft will be held right here in Pittsburgh. Can you imagine the excitement of drafting the next franchise QB in front of the home crowd? Names like Arch Manning and Lenoris Sellers are already being floated. Manning, the nephew of Peyton and Eli, Hasn't started many games yet, but his potential is through the roof. Meanwhile, Sellers brings that dual-threat ability that fits well with modern offenses. The bottom line, the Steelers are trying to get this thing right. Rodgers is here to stabilize the ship, provide veteran leadership, and push for a playoff run. But Omar Khan and the front office know that long-term success comes from building a system and sticking to a smart plan. Look, folks, Pittsburgh has dominated headlines this offseason. First, it was the quarterback carousel. For the second straight year, the Steelers completely rebuilt their QB room, and after months of speculation, rumors, and wishful thinking, they landed the big fish, Aaron Rodgers. That saga alone could have been a full Netflix docuseries. But now, with Rodgers in the building and the offense starting to take shape, attention has shifted to the heart and soul of this Steelers defense, T.J. Watt. And let me tell you, right now this situation is far from simple. Watt is entering the final year of his current deal. He's 31, still in peak form, and arguably more vital to this team than ever before. Everyone remembers that the Steelers opted not to extend him last offseason. At the time, it looked like a smart move, delay the decision, save some cap flexibility. But now, that decision might be coming back to haunt them, because the pass rusher market has exploded. Just a few months ago, Myles Garrett inked a massive deal worth $160 million over 4 years, with $123.5 million guaranteed. Then came Max Crosby. And now, we're just waiting on Micah Parsons to reset the market once again. That means whatever the Steelers were planning to pay Watt a year ago, it's probably not enough anymore. Steelers insider Mark Kaboly recently shared a very interesting theory on the Kaboly and Mac podcast, and it might be the key to understanding what's going on behind closed doors. Kaboly hinted that Watt might not be looking for a typical 4 or 5 year deal. Instead, he could be angling for something much shorter, say, a 2-year contract with massive guarantees built in. If I'm T.J. Watt and I'm 31, 32, Kaboly said, I'm getting 40 guaranteed in year 1, 40 guaranteed in year 2, hypothetically. Otherwise, I could move on and someone else will pay me. Think about that for a second. That kind of deal gives Watt financial security while maintaining leverage. And in today's NFL, where star players are chasing guarantees instead of length, it makes perfect sense. So why hasn't the deal gotten done? Well, here's where things get tricky. If Watt is asking for 2 years and, let's say, $80 million fully guaranteed, that's a massive cap hit, especially with Aaron Rodgers already on the books. And if the Steelers want to stretch that money out over 4 or 5 years to soften the blow, Watt might not be interested in locking in long-term at a lower annual value. It's a classic standoff. Security and structure versus value and leverage. Plus, if you factor in Parsons' looming extension and the fact that Trey Hendrickson is also in a standoff with the Bengals, Watt has every reason to sit tight and watch the market explode again. The longer he waits, the more leverage he has. So, could Watt skip training camp? History tells us, yes. Remember 2021. Watt didn't practice during camp while waiting for his extension to finalize, and the Steelers were fine with that. They trusted him to stay in shape, and he delivered. We could be seeing a repeat of that scenario this year, with veterans reporting on July 23rd. It's very possible that Watt doesn't show up, at least not in full. A hold-in is the most likely outcome, where he attends meetings and walkthroughs, but doesn't participate in contact until a deal is done. But let's be clear, this isn't about drama or discontent. This is about business. And for a player like Watt, who's poured everything into this franchise, nobody can blame him for trying to get what he's earned. Here's why this matters. Steeler Nation, if this deal doesn't get done, or if it drags deep into the season, it sends a message. It tells fans, players, and even potential free agents that Pittsburgh isn't willing to take care of its franchise pillars. And in the long run, that could hurt. On the other hand, if Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin get this done before camp or early, in preseason, it creates stability, builds trust in the locker room, and shows that the team is truly all in for a Super Bowl. Run with Rodgers under center. Because, let's face it, this window won't be open forever. The Steelers need Watt, Rodgers, and the rest of this roster locked in and ready to compete from week 1. So let's recap. You've got a future Hall of Famer under center, a clear commitment to building a dominant tight end group, offensive coaching that aligns with modern Super Bowl trends, a plan in place to draft your quarterback of the future next year. This isn't just a team trying to sneak into the playoffs. This is a team building, a sustainable winner, and it all starts with how they control the middle of the field and prepare for the next era. All right, Steelers fans, now it's your turn. Do you believe the tight end room can become a major strength? In 2025, do you trust Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers to unlock that potential? And who would you draft as the Steelers' next franchise quarterback? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let your voice be heard. And of course, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of Steelers news. Here we go, Steelers Nation. Let's ride.